Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Billy's Place. I'm Billy Hinsche. It is so good to be here with you tonight. I am telling you, I have got such a great show lined up for you. This is show number 64, the Chicago Style Show. And I am here to tell you, this show has just grown bigger and bigger the more I put it together. So plan to stick around for a long time tonight. I'm telling you, I'm giving you fair warning. We're going to have a big old time here. Let's see, what are we doing here? Okay, well, welcome to all the folks that have never been here before. I like to see new names and new faces and people at the end of the show. I look at the scroll and I read everybody's comments, and I go over everything with Desi, my friend Desi Arnaz Jr., and you know, we talk about you know, the way I did the show and everything. He gives me tips. But seriously, we really do. Anyway, it's always nice to see some new names, and welcome to the people that have been coming here regularly for over a year now. I really appreciate your patronage and support. Without you, there's no show. So thank you for being here and for being so supportive throughout these weeks, months, and now into this second year. Don't know how long I'll be doing this, but we're sure having fun so far, right? Show number 64, the Chicago Style Show. Yes, indeed. I'd like to invite everybody to go to my website, billyhinsche.com, see all manner of things, trailers that I've made for movies about the Beach Boys and Carl and Dennis Wilson, and little stories I've written, great photos, backstage stuff, and also go to my YouTube channel, Billy Hinsche Official, which now has over 400 subscribers, I'm happy to announce. Started out slow, 10, 20, and wow, it's really grown and exploded. So I'm really happy. You can go to that site, Billy Hinsche Official, YouTube, and see all the preceding 63 shows in their entirety. And they are all free. They are free, my brothers and sisters, as is this show. It's always been free. And however, I won't discourage you from sending in something to help keep the show going. And there's a PayPal link and a Venmo link up there. And do send in something if you can. It'll help me, and I in turn help my fellow musicians by donating a portion of the proceeds to MusiCares. They've been around for a long, long time. It's a fine organization. And I will also write you a personal note of thanks out of gratitude. So do that, and you'll feel better about yourself, especially if you haven't sent in a little something yet over these weeks and months. Maybe tonight's the night, you know. Anyway, you think about it. Let's hit the share button. Let's get the show out to as many people and places as we can. And yeah, that would be great. I would like to thank my award-winning graphic artist, Matthew Failert, from the Silent P Company. He did a beautiful award-winning graphic for me that I used this week for my promotional purposes on Facebook. Yeah, Matthew won an award for this particular graphic, and I'm waiting for my little statuette that they said they're going to send me, and I'll be sure to share that with you when I get it. I want to congratulate our contest winner, Lisa Barb. She won the trivia contest last week. She was the first to correctly name John Legend as the man who inducted Dr. John into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and also Elton John for inducting Leon Russell into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Both of those guys were the class of 2011. That was a heck of a class to be in. My PSA this week was done by Glenn Burtnick. I've shown it before. It's one of my newer public service announcements, and Glenn is really multi-talented instrumentalist, singer, songwriter. Has written with so many very impressive people, from Henley to, you know, plenty, trust me. He was a former member of Styx, whose music I'm going to be touching upon tonight, along with the great music of the Buckinghams and the great music of Chicago. How's that for a lineup, okay? I might throw in something here and there, a little smattering of songs to surprise you. Oh, last week I forgot to mention, I was talking about the Roxy show that I attended. It was Rick Danko's show. Rick Danko was the bass player for the band. I didn't specify that. So Rick was doing a solo effort, playing at the Roxy. Blondie Chaplin, our friend from the Beach Boys, and the Rolling Stones was in his band. And afterwards, we all went over to Dr. John's house in the San Fernando Valley. And that's where I met Dr. John Mac Rabenek, and nice man, soft-spoken, and also guitar player Jesse Ed Davis, who's worked with John Lennon and others. So it's a nice little guest list. So that is that. I am telling you, it is getting so hot in Vegas. I'm telling you, the chickens are laying hard-boiled eggs. Yeah. No, really. No, really. Seriously. Very hot. I had to put ice cubes in my waterbed the other night. It's getting crazy hot around here. Hello, my friend. It's good to see you again. It's been a few years since I've been away, but I'm happy to say I'm doing okay myself. I can dig what's happening every day. There is something new. Hey, good things are coming my way. Tell me how you've been. There's so much you gotta tell me. Let's talk about them good old days. We laugh and say, hey, hey, man, you're okay. Let's take it nice and easy now. Well, it's a brand new year. Lots of things are happening, and hey, good things are coming my way. Tell me how you've been. There's so much you gotta tell me. Let's talk about them good old days when we laugh and say, hey, hey, life, okay. Let's take it nice and easy now. Let's get on back into that groove. Stick around for a couple of days, 'cause hey, good things are coming my way. Yeah, good things are coming my way. My way. My way. My way. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday, when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of a beautiful sun. Someday, when the world is much brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Ooh, child, things are gonna be easier. Ooh, child, things will get brighter. Someday, yeah, we'll get it together and we'll get it all done. Someday, when your head is much lighter. Someday, yeah, we'll walk in the rays of a beautiful sun. Someday, when the world is much brighter. Right now. Right now. Right now. My way. Right now. Thank you so very much. What a great song. I don't think that the 5 Stair Steps would mind that I borrowed that song to conclude my opening number. No, I don't think they would at all. Well, that was a great song from 1970. That was by request from my pal Marcy Carrasco. Marcy, that one was for you. Well, this is the Chicago Style Show, and boy, oh boy, all of these bands seem to have so many horns in them. I don't have any horns. I gotta just make stuff up with my mouth. So, forgive me. Or bring the horn parts to the party in your head. I think that's the way to handle it. So, here's to the great city of Chicago, and to your health and mine. Yes, indeedy do. Lots of horns, lots of horns. You know, there's the people from Chicago, Illinois, I found out, they get really annoyed if you pronounce the S. Actually, it really annoys them. It Illinois them. I screwed that joke up. I'm so sorry. I'm not off to a very good start in the joke department. You know, actually, no joke, there's a mob museum here in Las Vegas. Yeah, actually, I've never been, but maybe now's the time to go, since I'm doing a show in Chicago. And, you know, there is mob history in Chicago. We can't deny that. I mean, did you know that Al Capone, he liked to go out into the woods and go camping, you know, and I did not know that. I read this. And the cops came upon him one time out in the woods. They came upon Al Capone. What do you think they accused him of? Criminal intent. That's why Al refused to carry pennies. He hated coppers. I'm just telling you what the man told me, you understand? Yes, indeed. Well, yeah, I've been to Chicago many times. Actually, I was there with Dino, Desi, and Billy the very first time. We played at a place called the Navy Pier. And I know it's still there. It's a landmark in Chicago. And, you know, New Jersey has Atlantic City and the Steel Pier, and Chicago has a Navy Pier. And, yeah, I think the show was like the Circle was one of the other acts. And I remember our manager, who was also our road manager, he went to the local police station to hire extra security, and he opened his briefcase and he says, "You had $100 bills. Tell me when to stop. I need some extra guys for the Dino, Desi, and Billy show. Tell me when to stop." I love that story. Anyway, yeah, Chicago's been very good to me, and I returned quite a few times with the Beach Boys, and also on the famed, legendary 1975 Beachago tour, which combined the Beach Boys and Chicago. That was a sellout stadium tour. They had to keep adding dates to places like Madison Square Garden, and oh gosh, we played all the big venues. They call them sheds. We played all of those. Great tour, and I will never forget it. That's absolutely my favorite tour of all time. Well, I'm going to tell you about a little group here called the Ides of March. You heard of them? Yeah. They did this great song called Vehicle. And I'm going to do it for you tonight. What do you think about that? Okay, let's fire it up here. All right, let me just get set up. I got to get the right sounds, otherwise it ain't going to sound right. That makes sense? Okay, there's that. Good. And then tempo. Good. Bringing it on in. Bringing it on in. One more sip. You know, I'm a little dry, Gulch. As I said, it is quite hot here in Vegas. I saw a guy frying an egg on the sidewalk the other day. Very hot. See, I didn't even bother with the crash symbol on that one. No. Why bother? All right, let's see. Okay, let's try this out. inside my car. I got pictures, got candy, I'm a lovable man, and I can take you to the nearest star. I'm your vehicle, baby. I'll take you anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, woman. By now I'm sure you know that I love you, I need you, I want you, got to have you, child. Great God in heaven, you know I love you. Oh, you know I do. Well, if you want to be a movie star, I can take you to a Hollywood. If you want to stay just like you are, well, I think that you really should. I'm your vehicle, baby. Take you anywhere you want to go. I'm your vehicle, mama. By now I'm sure you know that I love you. I need you, I want you, got to have you, child. Great God in heaven, you know I love you. Don't you know I do? I'm your vehicle, baby. Take you anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, mama. Yeah, by now I'm sure you know that I love you, need you, I want you, got to have you, child. Great God in heaven, you know I love you. You know I do. In a black sedan, won't you hop inside my car? Got pictures, got candy, I'm a lovable man, I can take you to your nearest star. I'm your vehicle, baby, anywhere you wanna go. I'm your vehicle, woman. By now I'm sure you know that I love you, need you, want you, got to have you, child. Great God in heaven, you know I love you. Yeah, you feel me on that one? Woo, vehicle, mama. Wow, Ides of March. I think that might have been their only hit. That might have been a one-hit wonder, but wow, powerful, powerful song. Woe that I don't have any horns, but c'est la vie. What are you gonna do? Yeah, Ides of March, they got their name based on Shakespeare's reference to the Ides of March in his play Julius Caesar. And that was a big old hit in 1970. Yes. They had opened for Hendrix and Janis Joplin and Led Zeppelin. That's a pretty nice bill. And band member Jim Petterick, he later formed Survivor. He wrote The Eye of the Tiger. He was a member of Ides of March. And they are still touring to this day. Good for them. Speaking of touring and moving around, do you know why the guy moved from Kansas City to Chicago? Why did the guy move from Kansas City to Chicago? To end his misery. Missouri. Gotta work on that delivery. Okay. Well now, this is getting interesting. I'm at the Buckinghams segment. The Great Buckinghams, formed in 1966, named because it sounded British. Someone suggested that, the Buckinghams, since the British invasion and everything. They're very popular act in the 1967 era, and they opened for the Beach Boys, and I'm sure they opened for plenty of other people. They were a local Chicago club band, is my understanding, and yeah, they had 5 top 40 hits I think just in 1967. Is that possible? I guess. Well, I'm going to do a couple of their tunes right now. Please sing along. I do love it so when you do. Okay, let's get back in business here. There's a piano. There's a nice sounding piano. Okay, and we're going to bring the tempo down a little bit. This was a great big smash hit, I am here to tell you. Great big smash hit. I'm supposed to do a big ascending, I've written a note here, ascending fanfare in G, second inversion, plus D and hold it. Except I forget what that means. Let me think about it. Okay. Oh man. Second inversion G is this. I don't care. I'm just going to go into it. I'll try something in G. Kind of a drag. Drag when you know she's been untrue. Oh, listen to what I gotta say. I still love you, girl. I still love you. I'll always love you. Anyway. Kind of a drag. I got a little bit lost in that song. Oh boy, you know, I practice and I practice. Sometimes they just get away from me. Oh well, what can I do? Oh, that drummer's still going. Listen to that. Oh Lord. Yeah, well, speaking of kind of a drag, yeah, I read yesterday that a former Chicago Bears kicker, this is kind of sad. He tried to commit suicide, but it's okay. It's okay. He survived. The bullet went wide right. He's a kicker for the Bears. Woo. Well, let's see if this one works. Oh, lordy, 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 lordy. Okay, this is a very cool song. I like this song so much. I know you're going to know this one. This is a great big old hit. Yeah. Oh, we've got everything lined up. Let's hope for the best. And forget the rest. Okay. Okay, I guess that's a tempo. spot. All the fellows go woo, and I know why. It's simply cause that girl, she looks so fine. If she ever leave me, I will lose my mind. She's got the kind of loving, kissing and a hugging. Sure is Bella, and then I'm a fella, and I know that she knocks me off my feet. Have mercy on me, cause she knocks me off my feet. There is no girl in the whole world that can love me like you do. Everybody in the neighborhood will testify that my girl, well, she looks so good. She looks so fine, she give eyesight to the blind. And if she ever leave me, I would lose my mind. She's got that kind of loving, kissing and a hugging. She sure is Bella, and that I'm a fella, and I know that she knocks me off my feet. Have mercy on me, that she knocks me off my feet. There is no girl in the whole world who can love me like you do. Have mercy on me. Huh. Okay. Oh, well, if you don't like that one, I got another one for you. We're going to keep playing too. I'm going to play something that you like. How's that? Isn't that a good deal? And the price is right, right? It is free. It is all free. Oh, what do you know? It's a caller. Hello? Oh, they hung up. Well, that's no fun. Well, let's see if they they call back. What a nutty kind of night this has been so far. Okay, I'm gonna play another one for you here. Hello? Hello? Yes, sir. Are you a Chicago guy? I like that. We're off to a good start. Your voice sounds familiar. Okay. Okay. Time out. May I put you on speaker and we can chat with my viewers? They're going to love hearing from you. Okay, buddy. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a return visitor. I have him call because he's so well versed and he knows so much about the music business and about the great city of Chicago because he's from Chicago. We've had him on the show before. Longtime great record executive, Ronald Luxenburg. Ron, say hello to my viewers, would you please?
Hello, everybody that's fortunate enough to be listening to this show and the creation of what Billy Hinsche has put together. 64 shows, Billy?
Yes, sir, number 64. How about that?
That's fantastic.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you with us tonight. Now, you are a dyed-in-the-wool Chicago boy, are you not?
Yeah, I didn't like your bear joke.
Could you say that again?
I didn't like your bear joke, you know?
Oh, you didn't like the vibe. I'm so sorry.
You know, we wanted to kill him anyway, but we didn't want him to commit suicide.
Then well, the bullet went wide right. You heard the punchline.
Yeah, he missed a lot of extra points and a lot of field goals. But yes, I am a diehard Chicagoan, born and raised on the south side of Chicago. I am a big supporter of the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, and got my start on the streets there. And it's interesting that you would play the Buckinghams because it was an example of how I got my start. They were on an independent label, USA Records, and fortunately I was able to pick them up for Columbia, and we were able to get Jimmy Guercio to produce those records, your friend and mine.
Yep.
And that led to another little group that I'm sure you're going to feature tonight called Chicago.
Yes, sir.
And it was a city that still gives the start for so many young musicians and so many young artists because you had so many diversified radio stations that could play 60 songs on a playlist of all formats. The R&B station was WVON, which stood for Voice of Negroes, and it was owned by the Chess family that people didn't really understand and realize. It was owned by Leonard and Phil Chess of Chess Records.
Oh, okay.
They had Bo Diddley and Chuck Berry, a couple of artists that your audience, I'm sure, heard of.
Oh, yes. And
then we all got fat eating in all the great restaurants.
well, okay, I'm going to do a little pop quiz for you now. Best place to get pizza in Chicago?
All right, there's two. There's Lou Milani's, which was my favorite, the deep dish, and then there's Gino's. And Gino's just opened up in Los Angeles, and Lou Milani still comes once a month to my front door, frozen.
Now, Gino's, was that on State Street?
It was, yes.
Because I've eaten there. Okay.
Yes.
Best place to get good steak?
Well, there's two. And my father, God rest his soul, was the butcher for both of them.
Wow.
One was Gene and Giorgetti's, the gangster restaurant that Al Capone used to sit and eat his dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is now Gibson's, which originally was Mr. Kelly's, the #1 nightclub. And it's doing very well. I just was there not too long ago, and the steaks are phenomenal.
Okay, best Italian joint?
Well, you know, my Italian menu until I got to New York was spaghetti and meatballs, and that was it. And there was a place called Armando's, and that was right off Rush Street. I'm sure Billy Hinsche was on Rush Street with the boys, Dino Desi and Billy, and the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
It was a great, great street of entertainment.
That's what I meant, Rush Street. I said State Street. I misspoke. Right, Rush Street, of course.
Right.
All right, favorite hotel?
Well, we had a bunch of hotels there. The Hilton was obviously where it got its start. The Pitt Congress was a great hotel where Abbie Hoffman made his name known during the Democratic Convention.
Mm-hmm.
And the availability of going from the South Side, you're missing one request, Chinese food. Chinatown in Chicago was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
There's a restaurant there called Wan Kao, where it just closed after 90 years.
Oh.
And I brought you guys Chinese food from there. And Mike Love said it's not spicy enough, you know.
What, did you bring it to the plane?
Yes, I did.
Hey, I remember these things, that beautiful Gulfstream, the G2 that we had. No, excuse me, the Bach 111, the big one. Bach 111.
Yeah, well, you had the Sacramento Kings plane that was interesting for people that weren't really tall.
Yes.
To use the bathrooms.
I know where you're. I hope you're not going with this story.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay, great place to shop if you're in the mood for great clothes. Where do you go in Chicago?
Michigan Avenue, the Gold Coast. Michigan Avenue, it's right there. You can see WIND when it was right there, and you could broadcast right in the window. But it's the Gold Coast of Chicago, Michigan Avenue.
Right. Well, you know, Beach Boys stayed at the Ritz-Carlton many times, and you never knew who was going to be there, whether it was Elton John, and we spent a little bit of time with him after hours down in that lower bar in the lobby, and Sting was there one time. I found a guitar going up and down the elevator, and I brought it to security, and they said, "Thank you very much." I said, "Well, whose guitar is it?" And he reluctantly told me it belonged to Sting, you know. So, anyway.
Well, I can only tell you, you know, your timing for your show is so wonderful because when we spoke during the week and we mentioned Vehicle, the Eyes of March, the man that produced that record's laying in a hospital right now. He's going to be okay, but Frank Rand and Bob Descotty, both I hired and ended up being promotion men for Columbia Records and Epic Records and Date Records right out of Chicago. Chicago brewed some of the best promotion men and women in the music business, and it was such a phenomenal city for young talent. It broke so many artists.
Name a couple. Name some for us, please.
Bobby Goldsboro.
Oh, yeah.
One. Yeah, Honey.
Sure.
Rep Robin and Delron's Chad and Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
And
friends of mine.
That artist was huge in Chicago. We broke all the James Bond films.
Really?
You know, Russia with Love. My wife, who I met on the phone, was working at United Artists. Rochelle, who sends you her regards as well. She listens every week.
Love to Rochelle.
I brought her to Chicago in January when we got married. That was a big mistake because she had never been so cold in her life.
Oh, well, yeah, it does get cold there. I know, I've experienced it. What's the old joke? What the 2 seasons in Chicago, or winter and construction?
Oh, yeah, well, if you didn't like the weather, wait a couple of minutes and it would change. But, you know, it's such a phenomenal city, and right now what it's going through breaks my heart because there's so many bad things happening out there with riots and race riots and sexual harassment. It's gone through a bunch of governors and, you know, mayors, but it's just, you look at the buildings that it built, you look at the towers, you look at the music, the jazz. It was the only radio station that I ever promoted a record to, WAAF, a all jazz radio station, and it had a disc jockey named Jesse Owens, the Jesse Owens. You know what it was like to go in and try to get him to promote a record? You know, it was phenomenal. We'd sit there and talk about the Olympics more than anything else. And,
wow.
And you had the radio, jazz radio, you had country, WJJD, WLS was the second most powerful radio station in the United States.
Right.
It was heard in 38 states at night.
Right. That
I even heard them on my honeymoon in New York. And I called in and I said, "Hi, it's Ron." He says, "Are you calling for instructions?"
That is so funny. Yeah, I read somewhere that when you go to Chicago, you got to look up because the buildings, the architecture is so magnificent in that city, and it was so true. The buildings and the beauty of the architecture alone is really breathtaking in that town.
Well, I mean, you've got people like Chicago. You've got Danny Serafin, the original drummer, one of the original founders of the band. He has moved all over the country, but his favorite place is Chicago. Jimmy Peters, he will not move. Survivor. You know, I would go back there in a minute, but you know, here I am in La La Land.
Yeah.
Or grandchildren.
Well, I hope
this place for education, the colleges, the schools, the athleticism.
Yeah.
But the music. I mean, you could literally go to a jazz nightclub and a blues nightclub and hear music all the time.
Yeah, and yeah, amen to that. And speaking of La La Land, I hope to see you soon. Ron, I got to keep pushing here. I got a lot more show to do. Thank you so much for calling us and educating us on the wonders of the great town of Chicago.
Happy Father's Day to all, and God bless you and your mom.
Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day to everybody out there. And Ron, we'll talk again soon. Lots of love.
Bless you, Billy.
Bye-bye. Ronald Luxenburg, he is the man. He traveled with the Beach Boys. He helped put together the Summer in Paradise album, and he traveled all over with us. And yeah, we've had a lot of laughs, Ron and I, and yes, indeedy. Well, I was about to go into another Buckinghams song here, and that is what I intend to do. Let me just get reoriented here. I'm going to have a little sip of my house drink. Lipton cold brew iced tea, splash of Pellegrino, splash of lemonade, a lemon wedge, and lots of ice. Keeps it nice. Okay, what am I doing? Okay. Okay, let me orient. Dee-doo. That's a good start. Style is going to be. Almost there. That's good. Tempo, we're at 116. Let's get it. Whoa, that's fast. I guess we're good here. 1967. This song spent 14 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100. Excuse me. It was #1 in the Philippines, my people. #4 on Canada's PRM chart. Recorded in Columbia, in the Columbia studio, 16-track New York studio. Here we go. If you don't love me, why do you tempt me? Instead of running around all the other guys in town. Can't you see? You're hurting me. Don't you care? Don't you care? If you don't want me out, why don't you tell me? Instead of telling lies and making me cry, can't you see? You hurt me, don't you care? Don't you care? Whatever happened to all the good times we used to have? The times we cried and laughed. I wanna know, I wanna know, will you ever love me again? Or will I find out this is the end? Don't you care? You said you believe me, yeah. Why'd you ever leave me? I'm standing here all alone, without a girl of my own. Can't you see? You're hurting me. Don't you care? 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 Yo. Well, all right, very good. Well, I'm coming up front on the Styx segment. I've got something real special for everybody right here. I had a conversation with a gentleman that was unable to call in tonight, so I pre-recorded it. You know how I do. I did that with Roger McGuinn, and I did it with Tommy James, and I've done it with this gentleman right here. You know him, you love him, one of the greats on drums. He's played with Brian Wilson. He's the #1 drummer with Styx. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the great Todd Sucherman, and I want you to listen to our conversation. Here we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a very special guest caller on the phone tonight, and gosh, we go back at least 20 years or so. I'm looking at my notes here. He helped us out at the Carl Wilson Foundation event at the El Rey in 2001, and I saw him play with his group the same year. In fact, I've seen him play a number of times, and I know you guys know him because he's played with Brian Wilson, and he's considered one of the greatest drummers in the world. And it's Todd Sucherman, everybody. Todd, would you say hello to my viewers, please?
Hey, everybody out there, and how you doing, Billy? It's good to hear your voice.
I'm doing great. I'm living in Vegas now for a number of years. It's getting really hot here now. I gotta say.
In Vegas? Heat, really? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I had to turn my air conditioning all the way up to the Dorothy Hamill setting earlier today.
Well, I hope you have her haircut as well.
Yes, the wedge. It reminds me, I'm going to have a wedge for lunch later with a little blue cheese dressing. But anyway, where are you now in the world with Styx, right here on the road?
Today we are in Atlanta. It was what used to be the Verizon Amphitheater, and now I'm looking at the sheet, and now it's called the Ameris Bank Amphitheater in Alpharetta, Georgia. On a momentous day for us, our 17th record was released today, Crash in the Crown. So it's a big celebratory day and evening here for us.
Well, good for you, and I know you're
anxious to get back on the road. But I want to know a little bit more about your early days. I was reading up on you a bit, and you're like a child prodigy. You got started like 2 years old playing drums, 6 years old in a band with your brother. So you're just a natural-born musician, you might say, yeah?
Well, I had the benefit of being the third child of two musician parents, so it was just how we grew up. My father was a drummer. He put himself through med school and was a doctor by day, and he played drums at night. He was one of the house drummers at the Chez Paris in Chicago for about 18 years. I want to say late 40s. And he was doing that. He was Lena Horne's drummer for a while, but he had a practice, so he couldn't really go on the road any longer than a week or two at a time.
Wow, so you had that growing up in the house. That's great. Yeah, neither one of my parents were professional musicians, but they love music. But I can see where that certainly helps. I'm interested, how did you get the gig with Styx?
The short answer, it was, every gig that I ever said yes to led me there. Basically, after a while, I sort of climbed the mountain in Chicago, and I was doing a lot of recording sessions, a lot of which were jingles for TV and radio. Mm-hmm. Some record work, but Chicago is sort of like the mecca for jingles. So I was in my early 20s, and I had drum sets flying around the city. And this guy named Keith Marks, he owned and ran the cartage company that took care of all the studio musicians. And he had worked with the band in the past, and he'd worked with a couple of the guys on their solo projects. And this would have been March of 95. They wanted to re-record the song Lady for A&M Greatest Hits. Uh-huh. And the song Lady was originally on Wooden Nickel Records, and there was some music business thing where they couldn't get the sound rights to the recording, blah, blah, blah. So they decided to re-record that one song. And apparently at that time, John Panazzo, Styx's original drummer, was in pretty serious ill health and kind of couldn't physically play the drums. So they called Keith Marks, and they said, hey, who should we get? So that was really the genesis of meeting these guys, going in, and it was just a recording session. I was in and out of there in 90 minutes. Great to meet you guys, and on to the next thing. Then they phoned me back the following February, that would have been February 96, to do a new song for what was going to be A&M's Greatest Hits 2 record. Mm-hmm. And there seemed to be, not that they weren't nice the first time, but there seemed to be a much more kind of getting to know you and asking me questions about, where I grew up and whatnot. And I could feel that they were sizing me up as a person. Which is, as you well know, there's 22 hours of the day that you're not on stage, that you have to be with other human beings, right? So they were, I was kind of being vetted. And so in my memory, it's about maybe 1 or 2 days later, James Young called me and said, well, what are you doing this summer? Would you be interested in playing with the band? And, of course, that was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Wow, fantastic. Well, yeah, from what you were saying, you were doing session work all over Chicago. So were you like Hal Blaine? Did you have a drum kit here, a drum kit here, and over there, so you didn't have to drag everything all around with you?
Yeah, it was really nice to, have the experience after having carried my own drums, countless thousands of times through, every downtown hotel kitchen and down or up the steps of every club in town, to actually have someone else do that for me.
Yeah.
That was a benchmark moment. So yeah, it felt great, because that's what I always wanted to do. But careful what you wish for, because after a while, though it was great and financially it was great, I started thinking, is this all I'm ever going to do? Play on dog food, Rice Krispies, Budweiser commercials? Is this what I've worked my whole life to do? Financially it was great, but musically it started to become worrisome. But when that whole industry collapsed, that became actually a bigger worry than my artistic visions. Uh-huh. And that all sort of happened right around the time that Styx came into my life.
And then Brian Wilson. Tell me about that story about getting with Brian's band.
Well, because I was doing all those sessions in Chicago, I worked with Joe Thomas many times, whether he was producing something or it was just at the studio that he owned or co-owned or whatever the business situation was. And after a while, quite frankly, Joe seemed to turn his back a little bit on the hometown Chicago musicians that had worked for him for years, and he started hiring Nashville guys.
Mm-hmm.
And around that time, after my second Styx tour in '97, is when I moved to Los Angeles. I figured, well, there's less work here in Chicago. The jingle industry is dying fast. It was like the Titanic. I could just see the back end of the ship, just vertical. So I decided, well, let's go to Los Angeles. If you're ever going to do it, now's the time. So I moved to Los Angeles, and then Joe flew me in to play on a couple of songs on Brian's record.
Give me the year, please.
Boy, that would have been, well, Imagination came out in '98, so I think that I can't remember what, I want to say that was early spring of '98.
Well, then how are you juggling Styx and Brian Wilson?
At that time, after the '97 tour, there was a hiatus, and then we started working on a record.
I see.
It was going to take up a year, and for them to work on a record, I mean, for me, I was done in 3 or 4 days, and then they have a year to do whatever they're going to do. That was the way we did it in the old days, right?
I see, yeah.
So I moved to Los Angeles, and I'm for hire, and that's basically how that worked at that time. So Joe flew me in, and then he said, hey, would you be interested in touring with Brian? And I said, well, yeah, I know that the earliest I'm going to be doing anything with Styx is '99. Sure, absolutely, it's great. And then something happened, and the tour got blown out. That was supposed to be in the fall of '98, and then it got pushed back to March. And I was really bummed because after I committed, Tommy Shaw said, hey, I'm going to do a run of like 14 shows or 18 shows. Would you like to do it? Because I play it on his record. And I said, I would love to, but I just committed to the Brian Wilson tour. So then he got Michael Cardelloni, who he played with the damn Yankees. Then the Brian Wilson tour got blown out, and then I was without a job for months.
Welcome to the world, a wonderful world of being a musician, right, Todd?
Yeah, you have to be adaptable and flexible to do this.
Well,
but
yeah.
as it turned out, it was something magic came of it. Joe asked me to play Farm Aid with Brian. That had Christopher Cross and Jim Peterick and Paul Schaefer, others. And I said, yeah, I'd absolutely do it. Well, flying me in for a week and a half or so of rehearsals also afforded me to do a gig with my saxophonist buddy Steve Cole, whose Smooth Jazz record had just come out and went to #1. And he was a guy that he and I worked the clubs together. We'd be playing, jazz clubs at 3:30 in the morning on a Wednesday when it's 6 degrees outside, looking at each other like, just kill us. So happy music business story for him, and he says, hey, I have a hometown show headlining at the House of Blues, and I'd love for you to be the drummer. So I was in for 2 rehearsals, 2 gigs, and Steve hired a couple background vocalists, and one of them happened to be by the name of Taylor Mills.
Okay.
So that's how I met the woman who would become my wife. So we did the gig, went home. Now I'm on my way to, it's about a month before rehearsal started in February of '99 for Brian Goes. And Joe called me and he said, hey, do you know any singers in Chicago, female singers that are awesome and also, beautiful? And I said, yeah, I just worked with this singer about 3-4 months ago, Taylor Mills. I gave Joe her number. I know Joe auditioned a couple singers, and Taylor was the only one that could hear the harmonies and harmonize and blend and get in there. A lot of, as you well know, a lot of lead singers, lead female vocalists, they harmonizers they do not make. That's another talent to be able to do that. So that's how it happened, and the rest was history from that point.
Well, I was putting together, that's a great story. I remember I was putting together the Carl Wilson Foundation show at the El Rey in 2001, and I needed a great drummer, and that's when your name came up. Your name came up over and over. You got to hear Todd Sucherman. He's the best. And I said, is he as good as so-and-so? Oh, my God, yeah. Is he as good as so-and-so? Oh, my God, much better. And then when I heard you play for the first time, I understood what everybody was talking about. And that was a heck of a show with Timothy B. Schmidt, Robert Lamb, Dewey Bunnell, Ricky Martin, David Marks. And I got it. I got how great you were, and you continue to be great. I've watched some of the YouTubes on Styx. I'm featuring the group tonight, and so I just want to say I wish you well in all your endeavors. What's your latest project? I know you do drum seminars, and you're available to do people's sessions. What are your current projects? And then I got to wrap it up because I got a lot of show left to do here, Todd.
Well, right now, we have a new record out, and we're on the road for the first time in 16 months. So this is really what's front and center for me right now. But I still do teaching, and I have a show on Drumeo, which is a drum education network that airs once a week. So it's I'm happy to be back here and seeing everybody. It's been really, really lovely. So I'm gonna drink this in for a while.
Well, enjoy it. God bless you. Love to your beautiful family. Say hi to the guys in the group, and I look forward to seeing you sometime down the road. Hope you come back to Vegas sometime soon, Todd.
Thanks for having me on, Billy.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, let's hear it for Todd Sucherman. What a great guy. Really appreciate him taking the time. He just started on the road with Styx again after 15 months, I think he said. Anyway, I've got to get on with the show here. This is the Styx segment, another great Chicago band. They combined progressive rock, pop, soft rock, power ballads. They sold 54 million records after over the course of their career. Here I am. I should be over here because I'm going to play a Styx song right now, and I'm going to do something special that I don't ever do with this 12-string. I'm going to go D modal. See, that's a D. I'm going to tune the E's down to a D. See, there are 2 strings per on a 12-string. Close enough for rock and roll, right? Written by Dennis DeYoung. It was written for his wife back in 1973. Went to number 6. Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling. Give me all your love. Your hands build me up when I'm sinking. Touch me and my troubles all fade. Lady, from the moment I saw you standing all alone, you gave all the love that I needed. So shy, like a child who had grown. Oh, my lady of the morning, love shines in your eyes, sparkling with your lovely, my lady. You're my lady, turn me on when I'm lonely. Show me all your charms. Evening, when you lay down beside me, take me gently D modal tuning, special for you. No extra charge. Nyah, nyah, nyah. Okay. Well, now, back to the piano. We won't be going back to the Git box anytime soon. Not, at least not tonight. Okay. Second Styx song of the evening. Ging, 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 ging. I know I had something else to do. Oh, yes. I think I'm going to do this little thing called the trivia contest. Yeah, in a minute. After I do this song. Right after I do this song. Stick around. I've got like some great prizes for the trivia contest. All right, let me kick into this high gear here. Keys, 03. Style. Okay, here we go. This one's real up-tempo. If you know the words to this, do join me. I always... Oh yeah, thumpa, thumpa, thumpa. This is from 1981. It was the second single from the Styx 10th album, Paradise Theater, written by Tommy Shaw. Based on a true life experience, it went top 10. That cat has too much time on his hands. Do you understand? That's what he's trying to tell you. All right, now we're going into the Chicago segment, don't you know? Oh boy, what can I say? I love Chicago. They're just, in my lifetime, to be able to have played on stage with Chicago and the Beach Boy Chicago tours of 75 and 89 for me, what a thrill. Standing next to the mighty Chicago horn section, or standing next to Robert Lamb when he was playing the B3, or, you know, hearing Terry Caff do the opening of 25 or 6 to 4. I mean, the list goes on and on. Danny Serafin on drums, and oh my gosh, Peter Cetera, what a voice. You know, just one of the great groups of all time. Oh! What do you know? I got a call. Hello? Hey, buddy. Well, boy, did you time that well. I'm just talking about Chicago. And would you mind if I put you on speaker and introduce you to my viewers? Okay, super. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a really special treat. I've kept it from you all evening, but this is a very dear friend of mine, and we're speaking about Chicago, and this guy knows a little something about it. He was the longtime lead singer and bass player for Chicago. This is our dear friend Jason Scheff, everybody. Say hi to my viewers, would you, Jason?
Hello, viewers. How you doing, Billy?
Well, I'm doing great. I mean, I've just been plugging away here. I've done a whole show of Chicago-oriented groups with Styx and the Buckinghams, and talked to Ronald Luxenburg, and played a Todd Sucherman pre-recorded interview. But this is the highlight of the evening for me. We have spent more time on the road than most people that I've spent time on the road with. I remember that tour of 1989, the Chicago tour, and boy, oh boy, unforgettable. Do you feel as fondly about that tour as I do?
Of course I do, because that, for me, that was the pinnacle. I remember hearing about the 70s tour of Chicago and Beach Boys, and were you on that? I don't.
Yeah, 75. Yeah, that was
amazing. See, because that was like a very big thing, and so all of a sudden when we did it again, I got to be a part of the band, and we both had massive hit records. You guys had Kokomo, and we had Look Away, and that tour was just huge. It was one of the highlights of my life.
Yeah, I had the good fortune of that 1975 tour. God bless them. Dennis and Terry were both still with us, so that made it really special for me. So, but boy, 89 was a rocker too, with you and Bill Champlin, and oh man, you know, I remember we had a big group dinner. Remember that? Somewhere in the Midwest, and Carl always seemed to be the one to organize those things. Did you have a chance to get close with Carl Wilson at all?
I did. In fact, when you and I spoke about coming on this podcast, the first incredible memory I have of Carl is probably in 87 or so. I remember sometime like 3 in the morning in some hotel in the Midwest. I was in the lobby. We had just gotten there maybe 30 minutes earlier or an hour, and you guys came in, and Carl was one of the first people that I saw, and he looked at me. I'd never met him, and he said, "Jason, you sound so incredible on Will You Still Love Me? I'm so proud of you." And I could not believe it. I'm going, he knows who I am, and he's telling me that he loves my voice. But that was just amazing. And then over the years, you know, when Carl and Robert Lamb and Jerry Beckley did Beckley, Lamb, and Wilson, we cut some of the vocals over at my house. I engineered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some of this, like they did a version of Without Her, Nilsson, and I played bass on it. And I recorded all those guys over at my house, and it was the coolest thing. I don't know if of course you'd remember, but Carl's warm-up, his warm-ups were, "It's a beautiful day, it's a beautiful day, you remember that?
Do I remember it? I do it before every show. Every show in the shower, I prepare and I say, ha 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 yo, ha 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 yo.
Yeah, yeah. So I got to spend some really good time with Carl. And the other piece of our connection was that my father played bass on one of his solo records, if not probably the first one in the 70s. And so I was always enamored with the fact that my dad had worked with Carl and said he loved him.
Well, for the viewers who don't know, Jason's dad, Jerry, worked with Elvis Presley, so not too shabby of a family lineage. Now, Jason, did you pick up the bass first like your dad, or was some other instrument your first instrument, like piano?
Piano was my first instrument, probably around 6, 7 years old, and bass was the last instrument. I played piano, and then got my first guitar probably around 11 years old, something like that. And then my brother Darren had a drum set, so we goofed around with that. But I always wanted to play. Actually, we formed a band in 6th grade, all my buddies, and everybody took all the other instruments. So I took bass, but I didn't have a bass yet, so I just played the bass part from the top 4 strings of my guitar.
Yeah.
But I remember when I did that, I knew I was playing bass. I knew I was playing real bass lines. So I got my first one when I was 14, and it was just really a real natural thing. I know I got a lot of that from my father. So,
did you have a decent bass guitar, your first one, or was it sort of a, iffy? Because my first guitars were very iffy. They weren't brand names.
Funny you'd ask that. My brother Darren and I have really laughed about how when I was getting this bass for Christmas, it was a K, kind of hollow.
Yeah.
It didn't look like a hollow body bass, but it was very light. And it was, Darren just couldn't help himself. He said, I got to show you this. And it was about a week before Christmas, and it was hidden in this cardboard box.
Oh, he showed it before Christmas.
Oh, yeah. So we pulled it out, and it was unbelievable, putting my hands on an actual 4-string bass. So check this out. I found that there's like several of them for sale on eBay, and I just bought one exactly like my first one. And I hated it at the time because I wanted to play like, Larry Graham and Bernie White, and then all of a sudden Jaco Pastorius. So this was not the thing for that. But so I got rid of it, but I bought one, and it's the coolest thing because it's exactly the style that I had, and I just love it.
That's unbelievable. I bet you paid a bit more than what you paid for it back when you were 14, 15, right?
Probably. I bet you it was probably no more than $50 used. It was a 60s K bass.
Yeah.
And I paid $650 for it, which is actually a good deal for what they're going for now.
Yeah, and what flavor bass are you playing currently? Is it fretless or not fretless?
I'm playing a fretted, and I've got fretless basses. I love playing fretless. I'm not going to say I love playing 5-string basses, but I play them. I've gone through, run the gamut, but I've really gone back to really like a Fender jazz style bass. When I played on this Beatles tour with Todd Rundgren, Christopher Cross, and Mickey Dolenz, and Julie Molland, which I'm going to do again in February. We're going to do another Abbey Road tour with that. But I played Jay DeMarcus, who I have a band with now, of Rascal Flatts. He has a signature model that's basically a 60s jazz bass. So I was playing Jay's, that signature model live lately. And so that, I don't know if we've talked about that, but I have a band, I have a band with Jay DeMarcus of Rascal Flatts and Dean Castronovo of Journey called Generation Radio. And we're starting to book some dates, and it's basically our set list is Chicago, Journey, and Rascal Flatts. So it's pretty fun.
That's pretty nice. Yeah, well, I remember many years ago we talked about this. You introduced me to this guy, and you said, Billy, the group Rascal Flatts? And I was like, no, not really. But you were pals with him when they were just breaking many years ago. So that's nice that you kept the.
They were cutting their third album. And here's what's pretty fun. You'll appreciate this, being an iconic band and going through a lot of different eras. I always thought, okay,
came in and followed one of the greatest voices in the world, Peter Cetera, in Chicago. So I always thought, I'm just this kind of an afterthought. And then all of a sudden one day you wake up and you have bands like Rascal Flatts that are leaving messages for you at gigs. Jay left a letter for me in 2002 at the Puyallup, Washington State Fair.
I know it well.
I know you do. And so basically it was saying, Jay's 10 years younger than me. I just turned 59. He just turned 50, actually. And it was the letter that said, Chicago is the reason that I play music, and I've specifically followed your era of the band. And
wow.
So
nice.
The coolest thing is to wake up one day and realize these wonderful guys brought me into their family and made me the future of the franchise. And I wake up one day and I'm half of the 80s hits,
It's really something, and may I say, when I first heard your voice, it was like, wow, this guy is fantastic. You're filling some real big shoes there, coming in after Peter, and man, you did such a great job. I just love hearing you every night, watching from the wings on those Chicago tours that we did. Well done you, as the Brits say, Jason. Well done you.
Thank you, buddy. It was fun touring with you too, Billy. You're amazing. And,
thank you.
And you know the road.
I do know the road. I got to tell the folks, I did a funny film, a spoof kind of, but tongue-in-cheek. Know the Road, I called it, and I gave the guys in Chicago a copy of it. It was on VHS, and they watched it, and I can't remember who said. I said, did you watch my movie yet? I think it was Robert. Oh yeah, right after when we got tired of watching the cartoons, we put your movie in, and then it was like an extension of the cartoons. Now, you did learn a few. Tell one tip for the people that you learned from my movie, Rock and Roll Travel Tips. Is it the one about the mini bar?
Yeah, never, ever, ever, ever get something out of the mini bar because it's marked up 10 times and never, ever, ever. And I wish I would have taken your advice, but, I didn't. And by the time I was touring, I wasn't drinking anymore, so it was the snacks. They were like,
that is so.
$15 for a Snickers bar or whatever.
That is so funny. Well, listen, I had a thought. I don't know whether you're gonna like this or not, but what key do you do? What's your favorite song that you do? Or like the Chicago, like If You Leave Me Now, or Hard Hat. Well, which song do you like to sing in particular? With Chicago, one of the ballads.
Well, I have to say, Hard Habit is a really fun song. Hard to say, I'm sorry. Out of the stuff that I didn't. Will You Still Love Me? I love singing, and we do that in our new band.
Yeah.
And I do it when I play solo dates, and I just play piano.
Could you just give us a little a cappella of one of those, just a couple of bars? Could you sing just a couple to regale my view?
Take me as I am, put your hand in mine, now and forever. 'Cause I am just a man who never understood, and never had a thing to prove. Just say you love me for the rest of your life, 'cause I can't go on.
Can't go on.
No, I can't go on.
Can't go on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fantastic. I've never done that on my show, Jason. That was a first. Thank you so much for doing that. It was incredible. Thank you. Well,
No problem.
dude, I don't think we can get any higher or go beyond what you just did. So I'm going to say thank you. God bless you for calling. You've really made my show so special. My viewers are going nuts with what you just did and just this whole conversation. So I'm going to play a couple of Chicago songs and close out my show, but I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for calling, and I sure hope I can see you sometime real soon.
Me too, Billy. It's so great to talk to you, buddy.
All right, God love you, and God bless you and your family. Bye for now.
Cheers, man.
Come on now. Jason Scheff just sang for us. Acapella. I told you this show was going to be incredible, right? And I haven't even done the Chicago songs yet. And I haven't even done the trivia contest yet. Here's the trivia contest. Here we go. This is one incredible prize. This is a laminate, a Chicago laminate from the 2010 World Tour. There's the back of it. It's got Hal, the computer, on the back, and a number indicating the number of the pass it is. This is an all-access pass. And of course, once you have all-access pass, you got to get your friend in after the show. So here's the Chicago after-show pass. This is a silky. This is not a laminate. But these are the two prizes that I'm going to give away tonight. These are compliments of our good buddy Mark Merman. He's back there on the East Coast, and boy, he was good enough to send those to me. Thank you, Mark. Mark has worked with the Beach Boys in America and the Smithereens and so many great acts, and he helped me out big time with the Carl Wilson event that I produced for the Roxy in 1998. So, Mark, God bless you for that. Okay, here's the contest. Yeah, I think maybe this is almost too easy, but I'm in a good mood tonight, and I want somebody to have this. Now, if you've won before, please don't play, all right? So we give somebody else a chance. In the Chicago tour of 1975, two-part question. Who played bass for the Beach Boys? What was the name of his company? Who played bass for the Beach Boys on the 75 Chicago tour? What was the name of his company? Go and do and be. Now I'm going to play some Chicago for you. These cats have sold over 100 million records worldwide. I have the distinct honor of having co-writer credit with Robert Lamb on a song called Because It's Christmas Time from a couple of years ago. I mean, Robert is not only in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but also in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So, wow. Thank you, Robert, for that. I got to tell you, on a personal note, you know, I don't like to talk about my love life that much, but I got to tell you, my girlfriend broke up with me because I asked her why, and she said because I was always singing Chicago songs. So I said, but if you leave me now, you'll take away the biggest part of me. She left. Biggest part of me. All right, enough of these shenanigans. We have got some music to play. All right, let me get oriented. I'm all jazzed and all jacked up from that convo with Jason. Jeez, how fun was that? Okay, almost there, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be good, and if you know it, please sing along. You know how I love that. I remember asking Jimmy Pankow during the Chicago tour whether they were going to do this song, and because I love it so much, and he says, no, the horns, we got to push too much air on this one, and so we don't do it. But I told that to Robert, and he got a kick out of it because he thought, oh, those horn players, they just don't want to play that much. Okay, I think that's it. Can this feeling that we powerful stuff, huh? Questions 67 and 68. Those are questions Robert Lamb was pondering about some relationship he had. So the story goes. Yes, indeedy. I got to tell you another Chicago story. I went to the Blockbuster there in Chicago, and I asked to rent the movie Batman Forever. And the guy said that was impossible. I had to return it by Monday. My drummer must have gone home. There he is. I can find a drummer. Don't you worry about that. Okay. You know, speaking of Chicago and Prohibition, Prohibition was the best decision ever, bar none. Let me ask you something. What was the first thing a Chicago tailor asked a customer who wanted a suit made during Prohibition? What size pockets, pint or quart? Oh, the whole animal kingdom liked that one. Well, folks, I'm going to close with this one. Sing along with me. I'm starting to run out of steam here. Long show. But I'm willing to do this one last song for you nice people. Because I loves you. And I thought this was going to be a good closer for us. Yeah. Uh-oh. I just transposed everything. I'm starting to fall apart over here. No, I'm not. I'm just saying that for your pity. I don't want your pity. All right, here we go. This is what happens toward the end of the evening. Okay. Woo-wee, listen to that. This is a Robert Lamb song. Now, wasn't that fun? Can't get that at some of these live stream shows. And the price is right here. Am I right? Am I right? I wanted to ask you, what do you get when you cross a Chicago Godfather with a brilliant economist? What do you get? Chicago Godfather and brilliant economist. You get an offer you can't understand. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of my show. I hope you've had fun. I've had a big, big time tonight. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I sure hope to see you next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise. I've got a fantastic show lined up. I've already got it in my head. I don't often have another show already planned, but I have another show already planned. For show number 65, I'm going to call it Going Solo, and I'm going to feature Don Henley going solo, Stevie Nicks going solo, and Carl Wilson going solo. Yeah, that's my show next week. Spread the word, tell the neighbors, wake the kids. That's the show next week. Well, I certainly hope you've enjoyed yourself tonight. And if you like what you've seen, you like my incredible guests, really. Pretty fantastic prizes, and all the good humor along the way. Do send in a little something. It'll make you feel good. It'll help me, and I'll in turn help the musician community that needs it so badly. So do send in something via PayPal or Venmo, and I'll write you a personal note of gratitude. Help me keep the lights on and that old air conditioner humming, would you please? All right, let's get on out of here. And by the way, go see Chicago and Styx and the Buckinghams if you have a chance. These are 3 top-notch groups. These are world-class groups. Would you do that for me? All right, come on now. Now the drummer wants the spotlight. Okay, all right, here we go. Positivity every day. Positivity in every way. Positivity is what I need. Positivity, yes indeed. Come on now. Positivity throughout the day. Positivity, that's what I say. Positivity is my friend. Positivity through thick and thin. Positivity is good for my soul. Positivity for young and old. Positivity for everyone. Positivity we've just begun. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. I give to you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I've had a blast, and I hope you have too. Until we meet again, I sincerely hope that you have all the wondrous joys and blessings that this beautiful life can possibly bring you. Good night.